Welcome to today's video, which is based on tetanus and how Clostridium tetani hijacks your nervous system. Let's begin. So Clostridium tetani is a rod-shaped gram-positive bacterium which is capable of forming spores which can survive in soil and other harsh environment for years. The bacteria are strictly anaerobic, meaning they thrive in low oxygen environments like deep puncture wounds. Their main pathogenic feature is tetanospasmin, which is the neurotoxin responsible for the characteristic symptoms of tetanus. So looking at the transmission of Clostridium tetani, the spores enter the body through cuts, puncture wounds, burns or surgical procedures. Once in a low oxygen environment, the spores germinate and produce tetanospasmin. Risk is highest in unvaccinated individuals or those exposed to contaminated objects and environments of poor sanitation. So looking at the neurotoxin tetanospasmin, this binds peripheral motor neurons at neuromuscular junctions and travels retrograde along axons to the spinal cord and brainstem. There it blocks the inhibitory neurotransmitters such as GABA and glycine, which normally limits motor neuron activity. Without inhibition, muscles contract uncontrollably, causing painful spasms. The first notable symptom within tetanus is lockjaw, where jaw muscles contract and cannot relax. Muscle stiffness can spread to the neck, back and abdomen. In severe cases, this can impair breathing, swallowing and autonomic function, potentially leading to fatal complications without treatment. So regarding the incubation period, symptoms typically appear 3 to 21 days after infection, which is averaging around 8 days. The severity correlates with how contaminated the wound is and its proximity to the central nervous system. Early recognition is critical for effective treatment. So the neurotetanospasmin elicits an immune response, but the immune system cannot mount a strong response because the toxin is so potent that disease develops before immunity can respond. Vaccination of tetanus toxoid stimulates safe immunity. Booster shots are required every 10 years to maintain protection throughout life. Tetanus is diagnosed clinically based on history and symptoms. Laboratory confirmation is really needed because the bacteria are difficult to culture and the toxin is hard to detect. Early clinical recognition allows for prompt treatment. With regards to the treatment of tetanus, the treatment aim is to remove infection source and utilise circulating toxins. Cleaning the wound is essential. Tetanus immunoglobulin can also bind free toxins, and muscle relaxants help manage spasms, and mechanical ventilation can be required in severe cases. Antibiotics eliminate bacteria to prevent further toxin production. So these are the various treatments for tetanus. So prevention of tetanus relies on vaccination, proper wound care and maintaining booster schedules. Public health measures have greatly reduced tetanus incidence globally, though cases do still occur in unvaccinated populations. So in summary, tetanus demonstrates how a bacterial pathogen can hijack the nervous system. The neurotoxin blocks inhibitory signals leading to uncontrolled muscle contractions. While treatment is available, vaccination remains the most effective prevention strategy. Tetanus shows the intersection of microbiology, neurophysiology and immunology. Proper vaccination and hygiene are simple but highly effective ways to prevent this deadly disease. Thank you for watching and keep exploring how microbes interact with the human body.